I'll begin this report by discussing who Comstock is. He was one of America's strongest proponents for censorship. A white male Congregationalist who fought in the Civil War, Comstock was born in 1844 in New Canaan, Connecticut. Along with his beliefs of a typical white male of this era, he was also a tremendously strong advocate for Victorian morality. Comstock held the job of a postal inspector and dedicated his work to shielding the American people from behavior that he considered to be immoral or sexually deviant. In his career, he reports to have confiscated 194,000 obscene pictures and photographs, 134,000 pounds of books, 14,000 stereo plates, 60,300 rubber articles which were likely to be contraceptives, 5,500 sets of playing cards, 31,150 boxes of pills which were likely to be birth control or aphrodisiacs. In addition to these things, he successfully lobbied Congress to pass a law known as the Comstock Act. The Comstock Act made it a crime to send anyone any material that was considered obscene through the mail. Much of his work was centered on preventing the distribution of contraceptives such as birth control, prophylactics, and information about abortion. Being a devout Congregationalist and an advocate of Victorian morality, it is ironic that he believed one of his greatest accomplishments to be that 15 people had killed themselves because of him bringing their moral standing into question and imprisoning innocent people for their artwork that he considered to be lewd. Comstock records confiscating over 15,000 letters, pictures, books, and other things he collected through the mail by people in New York. He called himself the weeder of God's garden. Several scholars note that Anthony Comstock was an obsessive man who took pride in bringing misery onto others. He enjoyed burning books and artwork that was confiscated during his obsessive tirades with morality. I will next discuss the New York Society for the Suppression of Vice. During his years working with the post office, he began his crusade on vice. After bringing down a bookstore for selling a friend his obscene works of art that led him away from religion, a founding member of the YMCA recognized Anthony Comstock's efforts and introduced him to another group of wealthy men who were also interested in social reform. With Anthony Comstock as their leader, these men helped fund his efforts of hunting and destroying vice in New York. They banded together and became known as the Society for the Suppression of Vice. The society was founded in 1873, with the primary goal of the organization being to seek out and destroy organizations and material that was deemed to be obscene. In this organization, the men were granted certain police powers which allowed them the ability to perform search and seizure, arrest, and interrogations. These powers were given to the chapter by the New York legislature. On top of these perks, the society also received 50% of all fines they collected crusading the city. They held large demonstrations for their followers, which included things such as book burnings, protests, and rallies. After the formation of the New York Society for the Suppression of Vice, other societies around the country began to pop up in hopes to recreate the same success that the New York chapter had had. Some cities, such as Boston, were successful in creating watchdog agencies to intercept the creation and distribution of obscene works of art.